take a roll call first. Okay. Director McAleer,
Here.
Director Walker.
Here.
Director Fribel is not in attendance, nor is Director Shu. Director Lux is, so we do have a quorum, just barely, but we have a quorum. And we can begin our meeting with our invocation and pledges of allegiance. Heavenly Father, we come to you today as an assembled body. We humbly request that you bless our meeting, our community, and our nation. Help us to work diligently, always for the common good and in the best interest of those who we have been elected to represent. Guide us to be insightful and prudent in our intentions, visions, plans, deliberations, decisions, and their fulfillment. Work through us to provide a spirit of welcome to all in attendance, to engage in respectful and thoughtful dialogue and discussion with wisdom, understanding, and humility. Amen. If you wish, prior to reciting our pledges of allegiance, please take a moment of additional silence to reflect for reflection in the manner of your preference. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Shelley, do we have any comments from the public today? Okay. Kim or Eric, do we have any requests for adjustments from the public? Thank you. That moves us to the consent agenda, which is pages 1 through 14. I have a question on or a potential adjustment in the minutes on page 3. Item number 14, the final paragraph. As much as I'd like to, I don't recall ever making a motion to direct Metro to do anything. Arthur, I'd have been out of line if I'd done that. So it should, I believe that it should read the district WWA trustee, meaning our district, to favor.
It says seconded by Director Fribel, so.
I just believe it was an honest mistake by the person recording.
On page 14, I think I asked this question last month, but now I don't remember the answer. Where it says percent collected for 2023 tax year, May 2025.
We're comparing one year to the next.
It doesn't, it's supposed to say 2024 or 2023.
You're in the 24 tax year,
Okay,
okay? So we're comparing 23 to 24.
as of May 2025.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I also noticed that the percentage of taxes collected has been the lowest in years. Now, I don't know if that's a reflection of the economy in the Woodlands. But I know it's only through May so far. Maybe that's the reason.
99%.
It's, well, in the past, it's been almost 99.95 on the average. And I know that's.
For the prior years is what you're looking at.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's probably through September.
So it'll pick up by September.
Yeah, we hope so. I don't think you have big accounts out there left to pay.
Yeah, because your additional penalty that would have kicked in for personal property only kicked in April, and your real property won't kick in until the beginning of July. So your delinquent tax attorney is not even authorized to go after delinquent real property accounts until July 1st.
Okay. No time to panic yet. Okay.
Well, and at 99.13%,
Yeah.
you're in excellent shape, whether it's 99.13 or 99.25, that's excellent collections.
And let's see.
Dale, any questions on the consent? Any more, Donna?
No, it looks like we have a nice surplus so far
Mm-hmm,
on page 5,
mm-hmm.
over 1.2 million. If I'm looking at that correctly. So us lowering the tax rate didn't hurt us too much so far. That's all I have to say.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda with the revision to that one typographical error.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Receive and act upon nominations. This is agenda item number 10. Nominations for the upcoming Montgomery Central Appraisal District Board of Directors election and adoption of a resolution contained therewith. If you recall, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes that if you're inquisitive and would like to know, I'm sure Jeannie or Eric can point it out, but there's been some errors made in my opinion, on behalf of the appraisal district and what we've done in the past. Although it might be meaningful because it shows how what we intended to do, it no longer is valid. Anything more to add, Jeannie? That's about it. So what we have to do is take a new vote. And unfortunately, with our current quorum, if we stick, we'll have to have a complete 3 votes because of the other 2 absences. And of course, we have previous positions that we've taken.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
So
and
we can't have any new nominations. We have to go by what we looked at back in.
no.
This is the second election. We've already had the first election, and like you said, there were some errors made that we've heard that people may be changing from 3-year term to a 1-year term. Okay? But this is the second election, and we got a letter. We know there's understanding that NESD called the election. So on the second one, this is where we put our nominations in for, and it can only be one. It can't be several. It can only be one. I have the statute here. So Arthur could possibly be going to a 1-year term. So he is running again. Right, so.
In this position that we're looking at right now.
Yes, and
Okay.
it's gonna be 2, that's gonna be appointed, and it'll be for 4-year term. Because they're trying to get on staggered terms.
Okay, so we're trying to vote again.
So there's no vote right now other than to make a nomination, a single nomination to be put on the ballot. There's no vote today other
For
than.
the 4-year term.
Yes,
Okay, so
For those that
Arthur
only
is
had 1
nothing,
year.
it's not part of that 4-year term, just the 1-year term.
say that again.
Arthur, right now, it might be going to a 1-year term, so he's not applying for this
Yeah,
other.
he's running
Because-
for,
yeah,
yes,
because of-
because he could possibly change.
Okay, I'm sorry for the confusion.
No, it's
I'm just
okay.
confused.
everybody's confused.
Sorry.
Thank you for asking those questions.
It's been explained to me 3 times and I'm still obviously confused.
So if Arthur runs for this 4-year term, then what happens to Arthur's current position? Does someone
Well, this.
replace him?
This will end December of 2025. So he'll be seated January 2026 for a 4-year term.
For this, that we're trying to
Yes, ma'am.
nominate one person for an upcoming 4-year term.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
But there's other appointments that are coming later, you said, because
No,
there's,
everybody has to have it done by July 15th. Before July 15th, everybody has to have their nominations in
okay.
for the
one-
reclamation
for one
conservation
person.
districts.
And we've been notified that even though there was multiple nominations made, per districts, that was not acceptable. And going forward, it could only be one per district.
Per district,
Per
and
district.
then the majority of the nominations, this determines who that nominee is. No, because we have 10 MUDs. We have 10 MUDs, so there could be 10.
Theoretically, well, no, because three districts.
Three districts don't vote.
Three districts.
Oh,
don't have it.
okay, sorry. So 7 of us could come up potentially with 7 different nominees or whatever the majority wins. Okay, I'm sorry. Never voted this way before.
We haven't either.
I've not seen anything like this. Okay.
So if you choose to make nomination today and all three of you have to agree on it, then we can do so. If not, then we need to defer or move on. And
Make a motion to nominate Arthur Bradehoff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion on this matter?
I don't think on nominations and Robert's rules, I don't think you need a second, but I could be wrong for nominations.
I don't
Whatever,
know
I'm
either.
not sure. But
If I'm off base,
no, it's okay.
I stand corrected. Further discussion?
Hmm.
Okay,
I don't want to go, I'll look at the transcript and everything. I'm trying to figure out, again, this is, what we're nominating for is the 1-year term.
No,
No.
No, the 4-year term.
to be
Next
nominated,
year,
to be-
in
become
2020.
a candidate.
It starts candidate to be elected, and it would start in January of next year.
correct.
Okay, I understand.
He's being nominated as a candidate.
Okay.
We have to know what the other districts are going to put forth.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I also have their proposed budget up here, by the way, and it's on the Google Drive.
The proposed budget.
Your second, or you want to withdraw?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you for asking.
we have a motion and a second, which may or may not be needed.
Okay.
Further discussion, Donna?
Was there someone that you'd said that approached the board and was thinking, okay,
Arthur is the only one that I recall that approached the
okay.
board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the question then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Now Arthur. can-
Thank you, Arthur.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us to agenda item 11, the regular monthly SJRA meeting. Mr. Meeks, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Been a pretty normal month, no violations, nothing out of the ordinary, no major issues or catastrophes. Reports in your pack, getting to page 20. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have.
How's all the rain been affecting you?
Production's down for what it typically be in June, but besides that, it's been fine.
And then all of the wells that you're rehabbing, everything went well. I remember last
did.
month. So, and they're back online.
Yes, sir. Those 3 are up and we're taking another 2 or 3 down here in the next few months or so.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the appropriate forum, but I did read in the media that Conroe, the city of Conroe, put out that they were going to be drilling 7 wells. Is that accurate? Yeah, that you've known?
I knew of 6. It could be 7 at this point.
Is it 7 or 6 or?
Yes, it's it's above 5, less than 10. How about that?
Yeah. I like it. I like your, general ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guidelines. Are those going to be north of us, those wells in the,
Yeah.
they're going to be north of our wells?
Oh, definitely.
They're going to be way north of us.
Way north. I don't remember any on 1488. I know Conroe extends to 1488. I think everything's basically around the loop,
360 is it? That's 336.
336 and then
336.
north of 105 for the most part. Up towards Willis mostly,
And they're going to be tapping the same reservoirs as us, right?
Vansley and Jasper.
They're going to probably pull on it pretty hard,
Oh, gosh,
Potentially.
because they have a lot of new development
right?
up
So
there
where I'm going with this is I'm concerned about the aquifer level.
and that impacts us.
And that would affect us, the wells, the ones you rehabbed and the ones we're currently producing from are south of that, correct?
They are south of that. We also, when we rehab the Jasper wells, most of the time we lower them just to be on the safe side, just in case.
Yeah.
So-
Now, these proposed wells, 5 to 7, that was a project, do we know if they're going to drill them or are they getting approved or permitted or?
far as I know, they're all approved unless you know otherwise. At
They're
least the
approved.
first 5.
I know they've been working with Lone Star to get permits. I haven't monitored Lone Star's website to know whether they've been approved.
Oh, is there a groundwater?
Yes,
Okay.
And then they take what, how long to drill each one, you figure?
about a year.
Yeah.
Good
Each.
shot. Each one?
Mhm.
You're gonna have one rig or several rigs?
Well,
They probably have multiple contractors or rigs. Yeah.
and they're probably phasing it just because of the financial impact,
That's what I was wondering.
because they're not cheap anymore.
Casing's not cheap either.
Plus they have pipe
Basically.
network to build
Yeah.
and water plants to build to go with each one.
Okay. So when would you expect them to be online producing the water? Any idea? Ballpark?
In 2 years.
Okay.
Oh,
So
2 to 10 years.
okay, so they phase it in over a long period of time. So we'd be able to see if that's affecting our aquifer level. Okay, that's it.
My question is, on page 5, you show the past due receivables 60 plus as of 3/31/25 at $30,477,630. But yet in the article that was dated in the very page 84 of the meeting packet dated January 3rd, Catherine Dominguez reported that Conroe has 24 million in escrow. Is it, are they light, $6 million, or haven't things caught up, or?
Yeah. So this $30 million number on page 5/34,
Mhm.
that includes Magnolia, City of Magnolia as well. There's some other entities as well, smaller entities that, are on payment plans and stuff. But it also includes penalty and interest as well, which Conroe has not accrued for or accounted for.
Interest
Penalties, interest, fees,
and fee, and
Yeah.
late fees.
late fees.
Okay, so that is accurate, what Mr. Dominguez has reported, or close enough. I mean, you've
It's
said
not
the
too far.
Magnolias, which is probably the biggest, are the late fees and penalties.
Magnolia, what, probably 2 million right now? And Conroe, they're 24, the rest is just principal or penalties and interest.
Thank you for that clarification. Further questions, Deb? Done?
Thank you.
Motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain. Motion passes. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. The review of the 2026 SJRA Woodlands Division budget. I assume or hope that everybody had a chance to review it online. Haley is here to assist us should anybody need further explanation of anything or to go through the budget, which is found on pages 36 through 58 of our meeting packet.
I'm happy to go through the presentation or answer any questions, but the highlights are the rates aren't changing. The wholesale water and wastewater rates are not changing. The GRP rate is coming down 4 cents to $6.63. And then we're asking for y'all's vote in July to direct your trustees.
On the fourth slide, I just had a quick question. This one,
Yeah, I'm glad you went.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay. We have the combined wholesale wastewater rate at $5.65, and that's everywhere through the presentation. But then you look below, it says $5.66. Is that a typo or is that?
It is. I got that same question at the trustees. Hugh said, you typoed it. And I said, no, it's a different rate.
Okay.
So that was something our general manager really wanted us to show the total cost of the water. And so it is very close to the wholesale wastewater rate, but that is the total wholesale water rate. So if you take the GRP blended fee plus our wholesale water rate, it costs about $5.66 per 1,000 gallons to provide the water.
I have no questions. Further questions, Dale? No questions. Donna, give you a minute to review it if you,
No, I just,
no,
so water rate.
do your diligence.
I was nervous about adding this like confusion, and we've gotten several questions.
Okay. I see. Just add these two and that makes this. Blended rate. Okay. Okay.
Good.
Figured out.
And I'll be back in July.
We have reviewed it. Thank you very much.
I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else. I was
Okay.
asking about.
This brings us to discuss the waterline condition assessment study that was presented at the All Muds meeting. This agenda item 13, General Manager Peterson. This is,
Yeah, we put it on all the agendas to give the boards an opportunity to share thoughts. That we typically didn't get into conversation at all much, but give you an opportunity to share any thoughts you may have had.
Well, what I got out of it is that age wasn't the determination of the deterioration of the AC water lines. It was proximity to bodies of water. And also, I think the engineer presenter mentioned something about pressures can also deteriorate the pipe. So when you look at the whole thing, it looked like Metro Mud and the mall area. They're near bodies of water and they're near developed areas where I think there'd be more concentration of pressure in those pipes, and those are the ones that are deteriorating faster, I believe. So I think those we need to not rip up all the pipes and all the woodlands, but just where it needs to be based on their condition assessment is what I got out of it. And so unfortunately, pipes that are near bodies of water, I don't know how you mitigate that because there's bodies of water throughout the woodlands.
Yeah, it wouldn't affect the plastic pipe once it's replaced, so that's a good thing.
Right, so we
That issue
really
would go away.
probably those areas need to be replaced first and not because something's 50 years old somewhere in the middle of the woodlands. And it looks like Mud 60 wasn't as affected as much, except that we have islands up there like near which I keep thinking, why can't we have a contiguous mud and not have an island way up there near the mall? But, that's just my
contribute
personal,
a lot to our financial well-being.
until you have to replace the pipes that are near the water, so.
I think it was great. They showed the map of the areas that needed, like sort of like Clint Eastwood's movie, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, where they had the ones that were near the bodies of water, the ponds, the canals, and the higher pressure. And then they also showed that the intermediate was as you moved west towards Mud 60. And then the best part was our Mud 60 was in green. I remember that ours was the least
affected.
affected. And then also they did show that if the pipe is near the interface between the high level from wet times to the dry, that the wet dry cycle also affects the quality of the pipe. And they also showed geochemically why the calcium is being
Leached out.
leached out, which results in brittleness, which I think is a good explanation of why we see geographically differences. I was very impressed with the presentation, very impressed.
So basically, he said we could be saving about $100 million on pipe replacement, and I'm wondering why it's not more, since it's only what did he say, 17% of the pipes he recommended should start to be replaced over the next 10 years? Like there's a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3.
Yeah, the 17 was the percentage of all of the pipes,
Okay.
not a percentage of the pipes that were originally identified.
Okay,
So
I'm confused on that then. Maybe you can explain that.
17% of all of the pipe in the woodlands that's SRAs is being recommended. Originally, it was not all of the pipe. It was, I think, 34%.
Okay,
So, and that's just of the estuary's pipe, not 60's pipe. So I think originally there was 11 or 12 projects that were delineated, now it's 7.
right, yeah,
And the other 3 or 4 would be pushed off to be reevaluated in
in the future,
10 years. So, yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So,
Along those lines, I wrote down 17% of the system addresses 85% of the breaks. Was that a correct
I think.
summation? I think he said.
Mhm.
I also think it was an excellent report that
It was
had
very
been
good.
commissioned and shown to us, very informative. Part of that was the Ecologics survey that was done by Mueller Incorporated. And I found that to be rather insightful and troubling. In this report, this is on page 44 of 61, which was on the PDF or the link to the article. No, it wasn't distributed. I showed it to you when we were there, though.
Correct.
That they tested 20,902 feet, and of that, from this perspective, of that 14,645 feet of that 20,900 was in poor condition. They then went on to say, provided their recommendations, which HDR included in the overall of poor condition. And I will repeat what is said on page 51 of 61. Segments reported as being in poor condition have a measurement effective wall thickness that is greater than 30% degradation from the nominal wall thickness. They don't have these as bullet points, but they then go on in 3 paragraphs to say, pipes reported as being in poor condition are likely in need of urgent attention. Depending on the loading conditions, the pipes are at a higher risk of experiencing leaks and catastrophic failures and should be addressed as soon as possible. Third, in most cases, pipe segments that fall within this category have reached the end of their useful life. Actions such as structural lining, slip lining, and/or full replacement should be investigated as an immediate requirement. That was one of the many things that I took from the report.
So do we have a ballpark replacement price for all 7 projects over the next 10 years?
Yeah, they had reported in the report 120.
120
That
million?
was $20-25. So presumably, and that's over the next 10 years. So presumably, the immediate it's going to have to be determined which projects go in within the 10 years.
Okay,
Likely you would go tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and kind of figure out,
that's 7.
you'd figure out how
It's
to
better than
expand.
500 million to 700 millions we thought about a couple of years
It
ago.
was never 500 million,
Okay,
not for AC, but it's about half of that roughly. So
737.
yeah, I think the 120 likely is probably higher, 150, 160 by the time you get through the next decade, because that's when the projects will be done. The more near projects are probably closer to that estimate, and the further off projects probably escalate a little bit. But Esther has, and Ed has sent me a memo requesting that the MUDs give direction to Esther by November 1, how they would like to proceed with the AC projects as it relates to the HDR report. That'll allow them to revise the 10-year project plan to kind of plan that out. Once you have that identified, kind of where they might sit, the specific 7 projects, then you can kind of identify, okay, how are we going to fund this? And what's the mechanism to do that?
was that going to be funded by all the MUDs,
Mhm.
not just the MUDs where the pipes are
Yeah,
located?
these are
System-wide.
pipes.
MUD supports,
Yeah,
okay,
they're not MUD specific pipes.
okay.
We have some in 60 has some that we manage for you, but those pipes are not breaking at the frequency that these are. So we will get into WWA on behalf of the MUDs. We'll need to go into this evaluation probably over the next decade, but I'm not proposing anything anytime soon because we just haven't seen the breaks like their pipes have. The bigger, and the criticality, as the presenter even gave in the report, criticality of the smaller diameter pipes. You might put out a block versus 100 houses. So the criticality difference is huge between STRA's larger diameter transmission lines and our distribution lines that are smaller and go out to a particular street.
Mhm.
So we'll look at it, but not yet.
Materials that you're in question that are in MUD 60, what material types are those? Are they, is there a consistency or is it?
Various, I don't know
Varies.
offhand, but I mean, I'm sure we have AC and PVC. That's the majority of the system.
Um,
So there's,
For fire rating, don't you have to have an 8-inch line in front of your house? I mean, no, I thought it, well, that happened at one time. No, you can have a 6 or lower.
we have 4s and,
Yeah.
I think we have 4s and maybe 2s at the end of the cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, I guess I got confused because I had a note here saying replacement is about 660 million of all water transmission water pipes. I don't know where that came in his presentation, but you're saying it's more like it would have been like 237 million.
Correct.
So I don't know where the
I
600.
think he was making a,
Notes,
If
right?
you did the whole thing.
yeah, in
did
general,
the
You did the whole
If you
system.
did the whole,
That's what I
which
thought.
was, it was never contemplated.
no,
That-
but
that's-
Okay.
he gave you the idea of what the total costs were. If you did that map, everything that's colored on that map, and you did replace everything, that's where that
Mhm.
came from. And then previous to this, I think it was 237 million.
I think you're right, yep.
Was what was before we did the conditions-based assessment.
Mhm.
And now they come back and then, like I said, I used the good, bad and the ugly, the Clint Eastwood way of looking at it, by
Mm.
buckets. You call it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. For my feeble mind, I like the Clint Eastwood analogy.
Okay, good. So we.
So we've had, 2 districts have requested an agenda item on the next trustee meeting to contemplate AC or particularly the town center water line. And then, the MUDs are starting to talk about, decision-making on their own in the future for AC water line. So they're talking about putting agenda items on next agendas to talk about this again, and then talk about decision-making.
I was very happy that the presenter was able to answer the questions, even though they asked, wait till the end of his presentations.
We couldn't wait.
Everybody ignored.
At the
I
bid.
couldn't believe how patient he was. They kept peppering him with all these questions and he would answer them and then he'd get right back to his presentation. He was very polished and was very professional. I really was very impressed with the presentation.
Completed our discussion.
Mhm.
Very good. Agenda item 14. This is an agenda item that I requested to consider an act on the town center water line projects, including easements. My motion is to remove, if you look on page 27, just for reference, it's a 2-part motion. Because you can't do 2 without doing 1, I don't think. Maybe you can. But to remove the hold on the town center water line easements project, which is shown on page 27, the top right, yeah.
Oh, land acquisitions
Yeah, yeah.
are on
Mhm.
hold. I see
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Remove that hold. And the part 2 of that would be to remove the hold on page 24, the town center water line renewal project. I just, based upon the report that was, the overall report that HDR provided, that town center was a critical line, based upon what the Mueller report, which was included from the ecological standpoint, ecologics standpoint, these lines are in imminent need of immediate attention. And we've been at this since about 2022. Feels like 1922 that we've been at, but that couldn't possibly be right. 2022, and we're kind of stuck in park on the side of the road. And I think that the sooner that we begin assembling a proper course of action to replace these lines and not put $23 billion worth of capital asset real estate in jeopardy, as well as a revenue stream to our township, the better off we're going to be. So that's my position on this matter, that we remove these holds and direct SJRA. Now, this is going to go to, and like to have, you know, even though I'm not going to be at this next trustees meeting, to have our representative vote according to the feelings that that this board has regarding this matter. Because that's where the director, excuse me, the trustee is, as Eric just said, this is going to be a point of discussion at the upcoming July trustees meeting.
Right, so
as
we
to
don't have
which
the
way we want to go.
We don't have the power to ask to have these on holds removed
We
today.
can
We can
certainly give our feelings, if that's the right word, or our direction, and so forth.
Is the money is already allocated?
There's a budget here.
For design, the design is mostly done, but there's going to be a little bit redesign due to some roadway, potential future roadway expansions. So there's going to be a little bit of redesign and likely a little bit different land acquisition
Okay.
relative to the original scope. So the majority of it is designed, but it will need to be modified. So this would lift the hold on that to proceed with completing that design, which is almost done. And then Beach Mud, I believe, if SJRA sells bonds for the project, would need to enter into a supplemental agreement to identify how to pay for it. The construction.
So based upon what Donna said, I kind of agree with, we really don't have the opportunity to act formally, do we? We can we? Or just, is it more of a,
Consider an act on town center today, yeah, and give your recommendation to the trustee.
But we can make a sense of the board, sense of the board, what we support.
that would be the action, to direct the trustee to
Remove the hold.
to remove the hold on both projects,
Correct.
or one project, I guess, but it's being set forth as
It's
one.
and the other, I mean, yeah, they go together.
1A, 1B, yeah. Okay. Do we need a motion to do this? I'll make a motion to remove the hold on the Town Center Waterline Easements Project, as well as the Town Center Waterline Renewal Project. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Anybody? Anyone? All in favor signify by saying aye. Oppose, abstain, motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 15. Consider approval of pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $204,030 for the Spring Creek Drainage Channel Rehabilitation Project, pages 59 and 62 of our meeting packet.
So this is the project we talked about, you approved change order last month. And it is to adjust that portion of the ditch as well as the drop structure that had failed a couple of years ago. That project, as you know, is underway. This is the first pay estimate for pay request for that particular project. As you'll recall, you have a 10% share in that project. So that amount, $204,030, is the overall pay estimate, of which your share would be about 10% of that. And then MUD 7 is the majority of the project. And if, as you recall, if you look at the kind of the southwestern tip of the
It's
aqua, the
there's a
seven.
little
Yeah.
yellow square down there.
Yeah, the yellow square little box is your 10%. That's the 10%. And the 7 adjacent to it
The
is,
one just to the.
Yeah, where that
correct,
little
7.
tiny,
that's what makes up your 10% of this project.
the gated community there.
So just need motion and action to approve and pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $204,030.
I'll make that motion.
A second,
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 16, receive update regarding status of Bear Branch, Panther Branch, and Research Forest Drive drainage improvement projects. Eric?
Yes, so we had a stakeholder meeting a week or so ago and reviewed with the engineer the latest and the summary memo that they were working on. And coming out of the stakeholder meeting, it was decided to go ahead and pursue setting up a meeting with the area-wide governmental agencies and other potential players that might be able to assist with the shortage of funding on the project. If you recall, there's about 11.3 million in place, and the engineers have estimated that we need about 10 more. And so the agreement amongst the stakeholders was let's go ahead and try to find it and see if there's additional funds out there. So between the county, precinct, township, and a couple other entities, just to see if there's
More Dan Crenshaw.
potentially. We already met with his office, and doesn't look like there's any more there for this project. But,
Oh,
so we'll be setting that meeting up here in the next, hopefully in the next month. That's all I had on that.
Questions regarding? Very good. Donna, anything?
no, I guess the Dan Crenshaw's office said there's no way because there's no more federal funds that they could possibly try to get for us, knowing that we have other newly discovered problems with the dam not being thick enough, for example, the concrete's not thick enough. I think that was one of what the engineers discovered that,
This has nothing to do with that.
okay, right,
So Crenshaw has that application did go in for 5 million for the dam project,
right,
and that is going forward.
okay.
This is the Bear Panther Research Forest project.
Okay.
Project.
Mhm.
And this is the project that helps not only flooding houses along that corridor, but more importantly, mobility along Research Forest that's impassable during these events.
Mhm.
So that project was studied on the tax day event.
Which the tax day event was the highest in recent decades,
Right.
surprisingly.
Very good. There's no further questions or comments. We'll move to agenda item 17, the attorney's report. Brian?
Yes, sir. Not much to report today. The session did conclude a few weeks ago, thankfully, mercifully. A lot of bills that we were tracking that were of concern for our mud clients did not pass, which is a good thing. One bill, we will have our comprehensive legislative summary for all of our districts probably before the next board meeting sometime in this month, beginning of next month. That'll be ready. One bill that we'll be talking about in the next few months is one that requires for agendas to now be posted 3 business days prior to a board meeting, as opposed to the current law, which is 72 calendar hours before a board meeting. So that will impact the Woodlands because the meetings on Tuesday as well as on Monday typically are posted on Thursday or Friday morning. Now they will have to be posted on Wednesday before the trustee meeting. So part of the structure of the board meetings originally was to give time for items to be added to the MUD meetings if necessary that came up that were not already planned at the trustee meeting. So one or two things is going to happen. One, either we'll have to have a delay of a month. If something comes up at a trustee meeting that needs to be discussed in the MUD meeting, we'll have to wait another month before it can be added to an agenda to be discussed at the MUD meeting for action. You're always going to have your board of trustees reports, and you will hear something that's talked about, but you couldn't have something for action discussed. Or we would have to move the trustee meeting to probably the Monday versus the Wednesday. That, of course, involves coordinating schedules with folks and what have you. So no decision yet. We'll have to see which option is the least painful. one to implement. So more to come on that one. But happy to answer questions. Yeah.
The testimony that about the right of way or identification, did that stop at committee?
Yes,
It didn't make it out of committee to be voted on.
correct.
So it was voted down in committee?
No, things could just be left pending.
So it didn't make it out of committee. Do you think that's going to show up again?
Very well could. I mean, we see recycled ideas every section. I mean, we talked about the taxpayer funded lobbying bill that did actually pass the Senate this time, went to the House, did not pass the House. That's probably the third time at least that bill's been introduced. And there's other bills like that you see recycled. So you could, I mean, that one frankly seemed like more of a, I don't know, more of a pet project that, may not have enough interest to get recycled, but you never know. I mean, with 10,000 bills, 8,000 to 10,000 bills filed every session, who knows?
Yeah, that was a result of a very hot topic in that representative's region.
Yeah.
And so I think as he heard the bigger picture, it's probably more problematic than he anticipated, but it was very passionate. That's a topic that's very passionate to the members of that region, that representative region. Yeah. Representative Curtis.
The reason I asked is if that's keep coming back, it'd be a big expense item.
Absolutely.
It'd be a horrible expense item that we would have to deal with. And I'm glad that you mentioned it to him during your testimony that maybe going forward, that'd be a good idea, but certainly not retroactive because that'd be very expensive.
Indeed.
All I have under my report.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to agenda item 18, General Manager's Report. Eric, please.
All right, report starts on 63. Point out that we continue to make improvements, refine, and add more information. At this point, we're kind of taking the idea that more is better. You might tell us otherwise at some point, but we certainly want to make sure that we're capturing all the various things that we're doing, recognizing that some of what you see in here may or may not relate specifically to 60, but it relates to what's going on throughout the Woodlands. And you certainly have your share of things that we are dealing with. One of which is sanitary sewer rehab. That is a project that's ongoing. It started a month or so ago, and they are now working. And I think 9 districts are involved in that one. The change order that you just approved, pictures of which are on page somewhere. I saw them here. Maybe it was part of those.
I remember seeing them too, right?
Oh, yeah, there it is. Sorry, 67. Yep, on 67. So that is the project that you just approved the first passment for. So that is definitely underway and doing really well, looking very good compared to what it did. You'll notice on here on page 68, under MUD 60, there's talk of some work that needs to be done, 60 related. And so you can kind of read about that near Fernley. We'll be working on that in the next month or so. And it more has to do with our outfall pipes as it ties into a natural drainage ditch. Overall, we're extremely busy right now. Staff and all the team is very busy. It's a busy time of year for us with increased water usage and questions about that, with people moving in and out of the Woodlands over the summer, and then also working through our software change out, where we've experienced a few little glitches that did want to point out that we sent out a notice to all of the Woodlands, asking for patience and apologizing for any inconvenience. It's been a small number of residents, but it did affect some. So wanted to send out a little note to the whole community to let them know that we were working through that. Also, as a pass out handout today is a copy of your CCR report, which is your drinking water report. Go out to the community by the end of this month. And the community will be able to see that. It is a separate mailer.
It says MUD 6 though.
There's one for each mud.
Oh, okay.
I think there's probably up there.
Oh, so I grabbed the wrong one.
I guess I did too.
You grabbed it. Oh.
Yeah,
Great.
6 instead of 60.
I think we replaced them after you came in, so.
Thank you, Bill.
No water quality concerns, just it is a requirement to share the water quality results
0 there.
on an annual basis. So first installment of that is no later than July 1. I'll go out. Next thing I had was just to point out that we did attend AWD. Kim and I did, and we actually, I think, had, since I've been at WWA, we've had our largest attendance of mud directors since I've been on. So that was nice to see. And hearing some good feedback from some of the directors, especially some of the newer directors, learning about various topics that are related to your mud. And I think the last thing I have is to kick it to John for the communications.
Good afternoon. You have your communications report starting at page 77. I actually want to start off by introducing Logan Meningus. Logan is a rising senior with the Academy of Science and Technology at College Park. He's helping me out with doing an 80-hour internship in communications. So
Welcome, Logan.
Thank you for your help.
You're learning a lot.
It is a lot, but it's good to sit in these meetings. It's good to hear perspectives. Yeah, absolutely.
he learns fast, that's for sure. All right, we are in the third quarter of our strategic plan, so our focus is now water conservation. You'll see that reflected in our materials in a heightened sense. Some things have been happening this last month with the instructional communications campaign, particularly with the website. We've made several new additions to that as we just maintain transparency and just try to get the most up-to-date, clearest information in front of folks in an easy way for them to find it. So we have a GIS-based interactive map that's coming online soon where they can zero in on their local area and pull up additional information on projects. We've added a page on the community working group. And we've also added a digital outreach toolkit so that individuals or groups can easily pick up messaging and disseminate it through their various outlets, social media posts and so forth. Continue to see more and more visitation to that website month over month. That's encouraging. And then the community working group has their 5th meeting lined up for July 1st. They're going to hear from Carollo at that meeting. I also offer you some stats on our website. I like to do that periodically. A couple different things we're looking at here. Average page views per month and unique visitors per month. So no matter how many times you visit the website, you're one unique visitor in a month. So we're averaging about 13,000 per month. It's on level with what we did last year. And page views is pretty level with last year as well, at almost 45,000 page views per month. So if you visit one time, but you look at 9 different pages, one visitor, 9 page views.
You're doing on WaterSmart, John.
Doing great. We're up to 78% registered now. Yeah. One last thing on the website. This is encouraging. It's one of many metrics we use to assess our performance for people hearing our message, because we do drive so much back to the website through our other outlets. We always try to link back to resources so they can find out more. We implemented the strategic plan in 2023. Prior to that, we were averaging 22,000 some page views a month. So we're now double that in the last 2.5 years. So that's a good sign. You've got current marketing materials examples there in the next couple pages, this coming month's bill ad, and then the outreach calendar at the bottom of 772. I'll be at the farmer's market this Saturday if you want to come on out and join me. Sure muffin. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, John. Agenda item 19, the trustees report. Eric, please.
All that was really talked about at the trustees report was the budget, which you received today. So that was about it.
And AC. No, we didn't do that. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Very good. That brings us to, we'll need to pass agenda item 20. We don't need 21. Any items for future addition in placement on future agendas? Dale, Donna? Nothing you can think of? If you do, just drop me a note.
Do you want to put the overall AC discussion and
Yes.
act on?
Thank you, Eric. Very good. If that's that, meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.